Good evening. This is Tom, and we are a bus and a pier. And as the title states, we are in Quartzsite at Christmas and alone in the desert. Well, we are in the desert alone in the campsite, but not alone in the desert, as there are thousands of people camping out here in the warmth of the desert to escape winter weather or just staying here for Christmas in the desert. Tonight is Christmas Eve, my first desert Christmas. And as I sit here in the darkness of the desert, with only the radiance of light from campfire and a few distant glows of other campers and the hums of generators, looking up at the stars, it's an awesome sight to see so many stars on a clear night, especially on Christmas Eve. I am in no fear of night creatures creeping upon me in the darkness because of the pier, which is short for Great Pyrenees, a livestock guard dog. He's sitting at the camp, listening and gazing over his flock, which is me. This reminds me of a story which also took place in a desert on a night so many years ago in a land far away. We find a dog on watch over his sheep while the shepherds are resting in camp after a long workday on this dark and starry night. The dog is alerted to a movement off in the darkness, and as he watches, the shepherds are also on alert. A shadow emerges from the darkness, and we find a young man coming into view of the campfire. As the shepherds come to their feet to prepare for the young man's arrival at camp, they notice he has something in his hand, and behind him, a larger shadow comes into view. As the young man gets closer, he announces his presence and greets the onlookers with his name, Joseph. And behind him is a donkey, which carries his wife, Mary, who is soon to be a mother. The traveling trio are making their way to Bethlehem because Mary is due to have child very soon, and time is of the essence. And as the greetings are exchanged, the traveling trio once again head back into the desert darkness, only passing by on their way to the town, so their stay at this camp is very brief. Joseph and Mary arrive in the little town of Bethlehem, and Joseph goes from place to find lodging for the night, so Mary may be comfortable and prepare for the birth of a child. Everywhere Joseph stops and asks, they are all the same. No, we're full. No rooms are available. So he presses on and goes to the next inn, only to be turned down once again. The small town is full of visitors for the night. Maybe there's a tent and camel convention in the area, and there are just no rooms available at the inns, or just any rooms, period. Remember, Bethlehem is a little town. Joseph is about out of options and asks once more at the last rooming house and finds the same answer. Sorry, we have no room at the inn. But the kind host says that there is a stable behind the inn where the donkey can rest for the night, and the couple are welcome to stay there as well. With Mary in much discomfort and distress, the offer is accepted, and Joseph and Mary settle down for the night in anticipation of welcoming a new baby into the world. And as the story goes, A child is born in Bethlehem. The heavens rejoice. The stars are brighter. The crowds gather. Gifts are given, and the rest is history. I asked a friend once, if you could go back in time and meet someone, who would it be and why? This question, I am sure, has been asked many times all over the world, and probably the most answered would be someone of stature, power, leadership, religion, family members, friends, scholars, philosophers, anybody. I chose a lesser known of people behind the scenes that may have changed the world without even knowing it. The common man, the laborer, the worker. I would like to meet the stranger who let this family stay in Bethlehem in the stable. He was known as the innkeeper. He was generous to offer the stranger's family a place to rest after a long journey on this clear, starry night, which would have changed the world. You have to think, if a person, a place, an event, or something hadn't been there years ago, we would have a different story now. So let's fast forward a few generations as we find a dimly lit dark room with a Christmas tree in the corner. There's a light glow of a bulb or candles. Glowing finds a family gathered around a fresh cut decorated tree. Little Susie gets a new dolly. Little Timmy, he gets a new truck. Aunt Martha, she gets a new dress. And Pops, well, he's getting a new pipe. So maybe one has to think. Being alone in the desert on Christmas Eve, you might think harder, you might think more, you might think clearer. But has the introduction of the big guy in the red suit taken away from the original meaning of Christmas? Well, you can be the judge of that. But it seems the combination has worked for generations all over the world. And as the holidays go, we have a day that we forget the past year and bring on the new one. We have a day for all the president's men. Where Martin Luther King had a dream. We honor our past military, their sacrifices and their lives. We celebrate our independence by blowing things up. We honor our laborers and workforce. We have All Saints' Eve. Oh yeah, bring on the ghouls and the candy. We honor our veterans. Thank you for your service, veterans. We're just being thankful in football. And we have a baby is born. A big guy in a red suit comes to visit. Oh, and the other one is where a Savior dies, rises again, and a big white rabbit comes hiding painted Easter eggs. And as I gaze into the stars at night and universe from this dark desert alone here, the stars seem to be brighter. A shooting star goes whizzing overhead, and think maybe the big guy is near. I see a bright star shining off in the east, maybe representing the birth of a child, and the words from a favorite author of mine come to mind. Only that day dawns to which we are awake. There is more day to dawn. The sun is but a morning star. So life goes on, but being alone is not a bad thing, because no man is alone who has friends. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy, and a Merry Christmas.